According to our assessment policy, there should be no grading weight in formative assessment. Are we doing that? Do we give assessment tasks to our learners that are not graded? Let's reflect on that. We may include peer assessment. You allow students to give feedback to their classmates. In that way, students will be aware, will be more knowledgeable about the standards and criteria for assessment. Self-assessment is also encouraged. A student can check his or her own work. Feedback and evaluation must be included as well. It must be done early. The feedback must be timely. And we pray, of course, nga ang student submission timely man. Damo pa nga students ang nag-struggle gid kay they are still complying with the requirements in the previous semester because of their IPs and INCs. So how can we also give timely feedback? We also have to reflect on how we design our assessment such that our students will be able to submit on time for us also to provide timely feedback. Establish and communicate clear learning targets. Go back to your syllabus. What are your intended learning outcomes? Align your assessment, your formative assessment with these outcomes. Kung hindi naman siya naka-align, don't give that assessment task. You are just wasting the time of the student and your time as well. So review your goals. What do you really want our learners to do? What do you want our learners to achieve? We have to recall these standards on how to write the outcomes of the Bloom's taxonomy and the revised one. Do you want our learners to create something, to evaluate, to analyze, to apply, understand, or just simply to remember? Do you want to focus on the factual, conceptual, procedural, or metacognitive aspects of the performance? Establish and communicate clear criteria for success. You may use a checklist, or you may just simply state qualitatively what your learners need to achieve. So, example, participants or learners must describe each assessment task in sufficient detail for the reader to be able to understand, and then list down what they intend, what you want them to do. So, for formative assessment, the criteria for success may not necessarily have a corresponding score. Because this is formative, we don't need to grade this. We can have these criteria. My verb is the main word in the action part of the sentence. My verb makes me think of something I can see, hear, smell, taste, or touch. My verb makes my sentence interesting to read. So these criteria can be used by the learners in self-assessment. Okay, so once they are checked, the learners will know that indeed the intended outcomes have been achieved. Build in opportunities for students to self-assess or ask questions based on criteria. So you may give them the rubric ahead. This one has a corresponding score. This rubric can also be used for summative assessment purposes. You can have stages. Now, for example, you require the students to submit this particular task for formative assessment and allow them to make revisions. And after that, by using the same set of criteria or the same rubric, the student will have to resubmit for summative assessment, wherein the students will be graded. Give brief, clear, actionable feedback based on the criteria. Okay, do not just give the feedback, you're wrong, you're right. You need to be clear what you want the learner to do or to revise in the output. So I like this feedback from Ma'am Venus. Now, one of you has received this feedback in the Google Classroom. Let me read. Now, hello, there's a name in there. I really like that. Yung ngalan ginabutang, no? It's personalized. It humanizes assessment. So, hello, Blank. I see that you have decided to submit your syllabus here. So it's descriptive. So wala yaman gina-judge, gina-describe lang ni Ma'am Venus what the participant did. I was hoping it has constructive alignment of the CLO, TLA, ALO, or the matrix in the last part. Yun mention niya ang pangalan sang learner. She's really trying to connect with that person. And then that is followed by a description on what the participant did. And the third sentence is a clear feedback on what Ma'am Venus wants the participant should do, no? So, kanami. So, let me continue reading. I may not be able to read and understand your syllabus due to my busy schedule, but I hope you can submit a constructive alignment. I wish to read and critique. Please see a sample. No? So, this is also a very good feedback. Kay may ara siyang the Ma'am Venus is leading the participant to a particular material. So kanami, please see a sample in the stream submitted by one of your co-participants. I am looking forward to your submission of just the matrix. Thanks. What you're going to do is to copy this one, no? Actually, sa Google Classroom, may aral na siya option nga you can save a particular feedback. And then, if another participant will have to do the same, you can just simply edit the name, no? And give that feedback again. So that can save you time. Right. Let me just also share the tips from ASCD on feedback that fits. Three tips. The first one is relate feedback to goal. Number two, try for description, not judgment. And it was shown by the example of Mang Venus. No? And number three, be positive and specific. Give students opportunities to revise assignments or redo similar assignments. So I do hope that we can apply this in this semester, wherein students will have an opportunity to edit. So for those who are using Google Classroom, if you are going to post a question, it's a question, you can click this one. Students can reply to each other. That will encourage peer feedback. And students can edit answer. Ayan. So that's an opportunity for the students to revise their work. Pero I think sa question, do hindi ang student yata maka-upload sa material. Now, but I pray that we are going to use a new platform by next semester, no? And that will give us more opportunities for formative assessment, more options. So it's question, no? It's a question in Google Classroom that will give us options for peer assessment as well as options for students to redo their work. Okay, so you can have one cycle of this for every block or every unit that you have, no? You ask the student to share their answer, you give feedback, and then they can create and revise. And by that time that they have revised their work, you can then give the grade. No? So kanami gid nga may opportunity sila to learn first, no, before they are going to be graded.